Hi everyone, I'm Jenny Garcia, and here today I am with Leilani from Leilani Scraps and Jen Chapman from Chappy Plans. And today we're going to talk about Project Life. I know that Jen is just starting, and Leilani has been doing it for a while and have been doing it for 9 years. So it's a lot of fun to talk Project Life, and I also want to give tips to the newbies or people who have been doing it a long time. We would love it if you leave a comment, to chat with us. We'll get back at you. I want this to be so much fun. That's why I picked these two ladies. They're a lot of fun. They're so sweet. They're so talented. And I'm going to share all their info in the description below and at the end of the video so you can find them on social media and give them a follow.
Yay.
So I have a list of questions that I'm gonna go through with them to just hit the basic points of Project Life. So I'm going to start with how long have you been doing Project Life? And I know that you just joined the tribe, the cult, Jen. So you can tell us how many
Yeah.
weeks you've been at this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I literally just started this project because I discovered pocket page planning sort of through my December daily journey, which I just started also in December of last year. Well, I guess it was really more like October, November, December. And then I loved doing scrapbooking in that way. So I was like, let me see what I can find out about albums and what is this page protector business. And I did a whole bunch of research and I joined on this year, but I didn't start until I think mid-February ish because I was finishing up my my what I did last year for documenting, which was Stop the Blur. um so yeah, so it's been I'm just about to film week 16, I think.
Mm-hmm.
14, no, week 14.
Okay.
So
How about you, Leilani?
Okay, so I have been doing Project Life for 5 years. This is my fifth year. Um, it's my favorite project ever. So whenever I've scrapbooked like my whole life, like since I was like in middle school, I always had scrapbooks going on. But I had kind of fallen out of I even worked at a scrapbook store at one point, and I worked at Michael's. I was like very into it when I was younger. But then I like fell off and I really hadn't scrapbooked in years. And if y'all are familiar with A Beautiful Mess and Elsie from A Beautiful Mess, so she had messy boxes and kits and stuff in 2015. So then I was like getting into scrapbooking again. But in 2018, that was when it really all started for me because I'd always followed Allie Edwards for like, I mean, I even had some of her books when I was in high school back in the early 2000s.
wow.
But yeah, and I just fallen out so much. So I looked at her blog quite a bit, and I really wanted to do some kind of scrapbooking where like I could document each month. And then I realized, oh, there's this whole Project Life thing. I had no clue, like until 2018. I didn't even know there
Mm-hmm.
was YouTube videos. I mean, I was so out of the loop. So as soon as I started in 2018, I had to like get my groove because it wasn't like now. I wasn't on Instagram uh following scrappy accounts or anything. So I was really just doing it all like from my own head. I had no like inspiration from anyone. So it's a little different, my albums from like 2018,
Mm.
2019.
Yeah.
But that's whenever I started. So it's the best. It's my favorite project, hands down.
It's my favorite one too. I have been doing Project Life for 9 years. I started when my little one was born. I started scrapbooking when my oldest, who's gonna be 14, was born, and then when the little one was about to be born, I started with a 6x8 pocket pages from Simple Stories, and I was like, this is not gonna fit in a 6x8,
Mhm.
and then I moved very quick. I moved like two after two spreads to the 12x12 like so fast. And I've been doing it ever since. And I've
Yep.
been through like the whole discovering and starting with the baby album, which I love it. It's so old school and it looks different from what I would
Yeah.
do now.
Hmm.
But it's very old and it has all those little bits. It's just that, when you see your old layouts and you're like, oh,
Oh
but you
yeah.
still love them because sentimental reasons. And I'm forever behind, especially because I keep adding like book journals and Disney albums and December
Oh yeah.
Daily, and I keep getting behind, but I don't mind because then I get to revisit those memories with a fresh new perspective. Like I just finished my 2019 album, and it's so weird because my kids look so little. They're at that age where they're about to make that big leap, and they're growing very fast in those school age years. So it's really sweet to see the progress and how much they grown and little things that you notice. And I also
Oh yeah.
like being working on 2020, and you see the pandemic like when it was
Oh,
fresh at the beginning, and it's so weird. It's
Mm.
I
so
love that album.
really weird.
Because I do mine, I'm up to date constantly. So I'm never working back because I can't go back to 2017 or 20. I don't have those pictures, you know? So I just have to like I do it weekly. So every week I sit down and do my project life spread. But I don't have kids or anything, so it's easy for me to do. And I don't have as much to document because it's like just me and my husband that I'm documenting.
Mm.
But the 2021, I love that album because I was working week to week. So you see like the progression of what was happening and the
Wow.
cluelessness at the beginning and like, how we just settled into a groove of like the new normal or whatever. But it's
Mm.
really interesting to see that and to see how it kind of phases out in 2021, because we're getting vaccinated, whatever, it's
Mhm.
different. So I
Yeah.
love those. So interesting.
Yeah,
I know.
it's
I
a
wish I
super
had
weird
joined back
album.
then. That's when I started my Instagram, my YouTube channel. That is like completely a different direction. It's decorative planning. That's how I like
Right.
started all this. So my journey is way different than I think a lot of other project lifers because I started and I still share and create plan with me content for decorative planners.
Mhm.
So for me, it was like trying to learn a new language in a
Right.
way. I
Right.
did scrapbook a little bit, like I back in like high school. So I'm 40, so this is like
Mhm.
2099.
Mhm.
That I like made little scrap like we did. I think for senior year we went to Disney World, and I did make like
Mm.
a scrapbook out of this like probably super cheap 3-ring chipboard binder and just some paint, like just put some random photos in there. And then I made a little scrapbook for my husband after we got married. So it was like our first year.
Mhm.
And it has like, it is definitely very different. But other than that, like I'm not an old school,
Mhm.
like I don't really have that background. I've always loved stationery. I love that Leilani was like, oh, Lisa Frank. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had Lisa Frank like everything,
That's
like
my
all of the
Me too.
thing.
yes, like all the colors, Trapper Keepers. Yes, girl, show your
So
Lisa
oh my
Frank.
god.
That's right. Um, so I've always had like an avid love for stationery, pens, like
Oh yeah.
washi tape, all that stuff. And I was like, oh, I can do that and capture our stories.
It's the
Okay.
yes. It's the best.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Leilani, does someone in your family scrapbooks? Because to be like scrapbooking so young, that's
Mm.
Well, it's
usually if your family does it.
okay, so I hear that a lot. And actually, no, mine was like the opposite, actually. I've always been like that too. Like, whenever I was a kid, I couldn't wait to buy school supplies. And I was like,
Yes.
I was always an inside kid. I like to make stuff and just, I
Same.
hated going outside. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only child. So I always kept myself busy. But it's
Right.
funny because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, yeah, my mom was into like, what is it, creative memories or
Memories.
yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
think so.
But
Yeah.
see, my mom, it's like the opposite, really. Like, my parents were not good at taking photos, keeping track of the photos, photo albums. I mean, I remember being a kid and being like, can we get some photo albums? And I'll put all the pictures in the photo albums. They were like still in the little
Oh,
packages, from like Walgreens or whatever. So,
yeah.
no, it was just something I always had like notebooks and I would cut up magazines and,
Mm-hmm.
make little collages and stuff. So I think it was just the evolution of that.
Yeah. The
But
Mm-hmm.
original Smash book.
yes, so many of those. Love a
Yeah.
smash book. And yeah, so I just kind of made it up. So a lot of mine back then, like I have some from like seventh grade, sixth grade, all kinds of
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
But no, nobody, my mom still doesn't scrapbook. She'll come and look at all of mine, and she's always amazed. But no, and
Oh.
really no one I've known ever. So I always just kind of until I figured out the internet with with scrapbooking on there. I never watched anyone else scrapbook either. I mean, I didn't have any scrappy friends or anything. I did work at that scrapbook store um, right after I graduated in '05. So like right after that I worked at the scrapbook store. But they were much older women that worked there and they were my buddies. But like we did crafts. But yeah, so it's really opened up a whole other thing with like the community of aspect of Project Life or community project.
That's interesting. Like my mom is not a creative person. To her, that's kind of like at the beginning she was like, "Really, you're like losing your time," because my mom is very productive driven in the she's a boomer. So she's like, "You, why are you losing your time and you're not cleaning or doing this?" So I never got to do it, but she was very diligent with her albums. They look like medical records. They're in order with the like date next to like remember the magnetic.
Yes.
She had those and she was like very good at it and people loved her albums, but like scrapbooking is like ew to her. I'm the only creative person in my family. It sucks because everyone's like, she's doing it again. She's
exactly.
Doodling.
Yeah. She's playing with stickers again.
Yep.
Someone check on her.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Oh yeah. I feel that.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next question is, what format do you use and why? So Leilani, you go first.
Okay. So I do 12 by 12 as well. And actually, when I started out, so 2018 and 2019 are 9 by 12. So I tried that size because, like I said, with A Beautiful Mess, they were doing the messy books, which were 9 by 12. So like I had made one of those in 2015. So I just kind of went with that idea, like from Studio Calico when they had the 9 by 12. I guess they still do. I don't know. But I did that. So that's kind of all I knew those couple years. And then, I started getting into more of like watching people's videos and whatever. And I did a honeymoon album in 2019 and I did it as a 12 by 12 and I was like, I mean, I used to do 12 by 12 spreads back in the day. Obviously that's what everyone did like in the early 2000s and whatever, but there's so many other options now. So anyway, 12 by 12 kind of sounded old school, so I was like, didn't really think I would do a 12 by 12 album, but then I did it for the honeymoon album and it was pocket pages and I like loved it. So I was like, okay, 2020 I'm going to do 12 by 12. And like, I cannot imagine doing 9 by 12 now. Like, I love the 12 by 12 size. Like, I don't care. A lot of people hate on it, but I love it. Like 9 by 12, you just don't have enough space. I need those other little space because I like to add like filler cards and I like to add a lot of journaling and, I need a little extra room. So I felt like I was really limited with the 9 by 12. So 12 by 12 all the way. Plus, I like to add in 12 by 12 layouts or other size layouts. In mine, I like to mix within Project Life space. Yeah. I think, I just did a couple layouts. I think one of you guys commented on it. But yeah, I like to, I thought so. Okay. So I like to, add those straight into the 12 by 12. It kind of like breaks up the pocket pages and gives it a little something extra. So I love that size for sure.
How about you, Jen? How are you feeling with your choice so far?
Okay, so I consulted with you because you're my like guru, but and a couple other people who do Project Life. Linda loves creating. She's a local friend of mine, so I asked her. And Sabrina Scraps and Plans. You guys know her. She's awesome. So I decided to start with a 9 by 12 because the only other album I've ever worked on has been a 6 by 8.
Right.
So for me, it felt like, holy crap, that's a big jump. And when I first got it, I was like, what in the world am I going to do with this thing? Also, we live in a really small house. So I'm like, how do y'all store all your stuff? Like my friend Nolana, she has an album, like a 6 by 8 album for every month.
Yes.
And I'm like, what are you going to do with all those albums? So I was, but but I can see myself going to 12 by 12 next year because I'm already, she thick already. She thick.
You have a lot of flips too.
This is like 14 weeks because I, like Jenny, I love to over embellish, and I say there's no such thing. Jenny, you say you always over embellish, but I don't think there's such a thing. I think sneeze all the stickers, use all the things, because that's why we love doing this, right? So I am in a 9 by 12, but I'm going to probably end up with at least one more of these, if not two, by the end of the year. And that was not my intent. My intent was to have as much as I could in one album. So that's why I can see myself switching for sure next year to 12 by 12.
Well, I hate to tell you, but the 12 by 12, I still have 2 albums every year. I mean,
Yeah.
do you, Jenny?
I've been doing it in one. I don't know. They're
good.
thick though. It's not like, oh, they close nicely. They're like, have to like push them together.
I love that though.
Yeah.
I have 2 every year. I've never not had 2 albums, but I do add the layouts. Like, I don't know if y'all follow Adele for Inky Quill, but like, she's like one of my favorites, and that's how she does hers. Like, she has layouts in there. So like, I just started doing that automatically in 2018 because I just love making layouts. But so that of course helps. Plus, I add all the things, you know, like the extra things. I'm sure you do too, Jenny. But like, add brochures and add all that kind of extra stuff. But yeah.
Well, I my album after those 2 minutes and 6 by 8, I moved to 12 by 12, and I haven't looked back. It just works for me so well. Like at the very beginning, I used to have 2 Leilani, and then I moved to 1.5, and now I'm trying to like put it in one, and I just love the album 12 by 12 because I can add a 6 by 12 and cut the page protector. I can do a 9 by 12. I can, because sometimes I have like only one 12 by 12 where I can fit 3 weeks. I can do a double spread and put the whole month. And then there are weeks where one lonely week has like the full spread with an insert and flips. And I feel that the 12 by 12 gives me the flexibility to be like, well, this week I only do a 9 by 12 and a 12 by 12, or a 6 by 12 and the 12 by 12. And I try to be very flexible with it. I give myself a lot of wiggle room. The more you do it, it's like Jen was saying, it's a different language. Because I feel like with my brain, a little space is Project Life, and then another is December Daily. Like, I want to like sandwich December Daily with Project Life at the same time, but I feel like my brain is not going to be in it, and I need the momentum to like either finish the whole album or just work on Project Life for a while. So that's what I'm struggling now, because I need to finish those December Daily albums, but I need to like restart and keep moving, and I don't want to do Project Life in the middle because I feel like I stumble. It's a weird thing.
I was gonna say I completely agree with the flexibility, because I love, a few people have done, you know, the what size did you say? It's like the smaller little page protector, like
6 by 8.
Yeah, a little longer, like 6
by 12. Yeah,
6 by 12.
Oh yeah.
Some people have done those, and I love those because typically every week I just do a 1-page spread. You know, like I don't have enough for like a double page spread every week. That's rare unless like something's really going on. But I love the way that looks, and I'm like, oh, I could do a 6 by 12 because it's really one 12 by 12 spread, just like split in half. But I also love flexibility of getting to add in 12 by 12 layouts, 6 by 8 layouts, 9 by 12, like all the things, and you can't do that in those little albums. I just love having that big album where just everything can go from the whole year. Yeah,
exactly. And then you can like punch holes in every brochure.
I love that.
Yeah,
you know?
I took in 2019 like part of a costume, like the packaging, and I just cut it off and punched the holes and put it in the album. And
that's one of my favorite things that you've always done, is like, especially with having kids, like I would have died if my mom back in the day, can you imagine, like in the 90s with like your troll dolls and stuff, if she kept that, even just packaging, and had it in an album, like that would be so cool. And I know that's something you've always done in your videos, you know, I even wrote that down for an idea, but that you would add those little bits, like just straight off of packaging or, whatever, and add it in there. And I love
Yeah.
that. It's really fun.
And my
I
kids,
know. I love that you do that too, Jenny. I think I just commented that too on like your 2019 flip through, that you're so good at taking photos of like everyday things, like the chalk that you just took a picture of. And like, I don't know, I just really love that you do that. I need to do that more, especially like you said, Leilani, with Nora having all these, my daughter, she's got the newer trolls. I had the older trolls, but how cool would that have been? I had the packaging for my older trolls and then had her, DreamWorks troll packaging. Like that would just be so cool.
And stuff like that might not seem important now, but like in 20 years or 30 years,
right,
it'll be vintage and cool. And you'll be like, God, I'm so glad I like documented those little things,
And actually, the My Little Ponies just got like a new look. So I had my oldest, like Friendship is Magic, and then it was the Equestria Girls. And now we have these new little My Little Ponies, and they don't really like them. But in the future, they'll have other ponies because they keep, I don't know what's up with ponies. They're not stable. And when I was little, they were different. They were all chunky.
Yeah.
And like I have all this packaging, and they do it naturally. They open those blind boxes, and they're like, okay, here's the bag, here's a little checklist. So they know it already, and they take it out of the album and they look at it, and they're like, oh, I never got that one.
Yeah.
So something they've learned to do also. Okay, the next question is, what is your favorite thing to document, Jen?
Oh gosh.
Well, you just discovering that since you're
like it's brand new to me. But so my problem is that I have too many photos. Like I take multiple photos all day long, and Nora is like the busiest 7-year-old I've ever met. Like I have no life because I don't know how I would have time to have a life, because my life revolves around all of her play dates, and like she does dance and Girl Scouts, and she does she's going to be taking piano lessons, and she just does like a lot of different things, and I don't know how I'm going to fit all these photos. Like I've had to actually figure out how to use a certain app to get like 4-on-1 so that I can fit all the photos that I have in this 9x12 album. So I love documenting everything. I do need to do a better job of documenting things like the price of eggs right now, or like gas, or just like you do, take the packaging from things. And I need to do a better job of that. But I like you, Jenny, taking pictures of like candid photos. So like yesterday, Nora had her friend over, and they were doing each other's makeup and hair in her room, and I kind of like a creeper, I was like, just ignore me, and like took a picture and like ran out of the room, like those. I love taking photos like that. But yeah, big and small. I'm actually trying to figure out you guys can help me with that. Like you have all these photos you take every day, but what do you do when you have like 8 photos for one day, or like a bigger occasion? Do you have a separate album?
That depends on how many photos I have, sorry about that. How many photos I have from the occasion. If it's less than 10, I can add them to the Project Life album. If it's if it's more than that but less than 30, then there are the little books from Everyday Explorers, the mini book makers club. And if it's bigger than that, then it has to be a 6x8. Like I have last year, I don't do October daily, but we went to Legoland and to the Philadelphia Zoo, and that's a lot of photos. And that's just gonna have to be an album. And I'm like, oh no, another project. I knew it.
Yep. That's how I feel about Disney.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like any big thing like that, I always do an additional album.
I have flashes from Disney. I'm not recovered. It's okay. It's still.
I'm a very like, I'm not trying to, there's no right or wrong, but like I do my projects right then. So like I'm just never behind. Honestly, sometimes I wish I was, because I'm like, oh, I would have something else to scrapbook right now. Like a lot of times I'm
Mhm.
constantly trying to find something to scrapbook, but also I have a Patreon, and we do a project from start to finish every month. So it's like I'll do a travel album of
Oh,
we complete it within those 7 videos of the month. Like regardless, I'll do long videos, whatever, it's gonna get done. So but with Project Life, like if I have more photos in a week, which is rare for me. I don't have like
mhm.
that much going on. Um, but I'll like sometimes print my photos at different sizes. So I'll do like maybe in a 4x6 area, I'll have like 3 photos or 4 photos or whatever instead of just one, like to
Mhm.
document more. Or
Mhm.
like Jenny said, I'll do like a lot of inserts if I have a week that has more. But if it's like an actual trip or something,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to
Yeah.
I'll document it. Every week is documented in my project life. Whether I'm doing December daily, whether I have a big trip, I'm gonna document it
Yeah.
somehow in project life. But then I'll do like an
Yeah.
additional album of that trip or whatever,
Okay.
for sure.
Cool.
And what's your favorite thing to document, Leilani?
Okay, so I agree. Just, I mean, that's the beauty of project life to me, is that you have the small things and the big things mixed together. So it's really hard to choose because, like, I have a lot of albums, and like I said, I'll do the travel albums. You love those. You love the Disney albums or December Daily. But I also really love that within project life, those things are documented. My December is still documented, the holidays, the anniversaries, birthdays, trips. But of course, the everyday is like one of the best parts of Project Life, because we kind of forget about those moments a lot. I think a lot of people
Mm.
just choose like December daily or whatever. But if I had to pick one project, I mean, it's Project Life, because everything's in
Yeah.
that. And I'm a really
Mm-hmm.
like chronological scrapbooker. So having like
Yeah.
the start of the year to the end, that feels so good to me. Like I have my
Yeah.
whole year. And it's like I do a lot of, I will double scrap. Like I'll put, December in Project Life and in December daily, but they're
Mhm.
totally different projects to me. So as long as everything's in December daily, I'm happy. And then if I have another little album, it's just like the icing on the cake. But I want all my stuff
Mm.
in Project Life, if I said that wrong. I want it all in Project Life, because it's like that's my whole year, and it just like
Yeah.
feels amazing to have the entire year scrapped.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
that's pretty awesome. And I'm gonna agree with the everyday stuff. I just see the girls growing, what kind of stuff they like doing, what are they watching, uh, little things they learn. Like my oldest used, it's still playing the flute, and my little one is playing the trumpet, and I just get, just from looking at the photos, I remember like how bad they were or how good they become, and it's nice to see the gap. And it's no picnic listening to a beginner trumpet player, but it's worth it if your kid is about to learn an instrument. Godspeed. Let them practice. The more they practice, the
Yeah,
better
she's about
they
to.
get
Yeah.
faster. Cause, but and I just like watching them do stuff and grow up and be these completely
Mhm.
different people that they are. They're very different. They keep growing, and I've also been trying to take pictures of the messes they leave. And I know that sounds so dumb, but it's different. It's from different kind of books
Mhm.
they read, from toys to books, from books to photos or makeup or earrings everywhere. So it evolves, and you get to see it,
Mhm.
because when you're living it, it comes so gradually that you don't feel the impact. And then one day it hits you and you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is a completely different kid. Um, so it's nice to see how they progress and how they grow up over, time. That's really
Yeah,
nice.
that's amazing. That's
mhm,
my one biggest regret, I think, is that I don't have anything from prior to this year. I know I could go back, but I don't remember. Like I
mhm.
have photos, but I don't remember like what was happening in the day to day. And so I'm like, should I go back? Should I go start from like Nora being a baby? Like that seems kind of insane. I don't know. And I have OCD, so like with Leilani saying she likes to do things in the now, that's how I am. So I don't know if I could go
It's
backwards, but
harder
I
for
wish
me too.
I
I
had
get
those memories.
it.
Yeah.
You could do a different type of album, like maybe don't put so much pressure on it being Project Life, where it's
Mm.
like
Mhm.
by weeks or something like that. But I have
I
definitely
know.
back and tried to scrapbook, different trips or different things, and it's just it's like a retrospective type of journal
Yeah.
project.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the next question is, what are your favorite products to use, Leilani? By the way, we're sorry. We're about to enable. If your wallet is not safe, I'll blame it on them, not me. I'm a good person. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Leilani.
Oh,
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, I really love having products that are made like for pocket scrapbooking. So I get Ellie Studio in the mail every month, and it's a small kit. I mean, I think it's like $10 or something, and you just get a few little things. But I always really like it. I mean, it is very like sometimes primary colors, which aren't always like my go-to, but I really
mhm.
love how uh easy it is to complete project life with those cards. Like I like having journaling cards and places that are ready to go. But just like Jenny, I know that you really like Studio Calico too, and I really like Studio Calico. They just have great like cards, which normally I have done a lot of the digitals over there because I do print like at home, so I just print whatever. But recently at that Studio Calico sale, I mean, I just bought so many cards, and I
I
have a
saw.
lot. I, oh my God, they're so cute. I have a lot of Project Life cards, but you know how it is. Some are just old and whatever. But another favorite has always been In a Creative Bubble. I love
Yes.
In a Creative Bubble so much. And I wish that she made like all, before like there were so many collections that came out. Now it's like few and far between. But anytime she has like anything at Christmas or whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on that for sure. And I will use like if I am doing a project over on Patreon or something, and we're using, like crepe paper or simple stories or whatever, I might like create a layout that week using like non Project Life products, like just using scrapbooking products and kind of make it work. So I really use a plethora of stuff, but yeah.
How about you, Jen?
Well, I started like finding everything American Crafts related because last year I did Stop the Blur. So obviously Heidi Swap is through American Crafts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bored. So I was like, I need some brighter colors. I need some more variety. I need some more like I have verbal diarrhea, like, and no filter. So that needs to be reflected in my style, right? Because that's who I am. And so I found Paper Person, and I am like obsessed with Paper Person. I just love the like snarky stamps, and like my favorite new stamp set has like an okay Karen like sentiment, and I'm like, okay, these are my people. So Paper Person, and I love Studio Calico, like thanks to Jenny. Jenny is totally my wallet is crying because Jenny introduced me to Studio Calico, and their sales are on point, and Jenny and I have the same F word, full price. Like we don't like paying full price for things, and Studio Calico comes through with the sales.
They really
So
do.
I stuff, and I do love Allie Edwards. Like at first I didn't love, like last year is when I started, and the year before is when I first saw even what December Daily was. So 2021. And the colors were a lot different back then. I think they were a lot more muted and like earthy and neutral. And I'm way more like give me rainbows and bright colors and like damask love and that type of style. So but this year I feel like Allie Edwards is going more towards bright colors, and like I love how inclusive she is too. Like that's important to me personally, is to have like a company that is inclusive and like, yeah, just I love the brighter colors and the variety of like embellishments and all the different things you can add on.
Oh yeah.
So those are my top three.
I think it's safe to say that this past month we all did damage with Studio Calico. They did the sale. Then this last month for their subscribers, they had like another cell where you could add even more things to the box, and I was like, that was my one of my last videos. It was I did damage, but I do
Mm-hmm.
love their kits. I feel like they're
Mm-hmm.
buildable. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love embellishing, so they do give you a little bit, but it's a good base that you can add more things to it,
Mm-hmm.
or you can mix them together. And I think that that's such a cool thing. And
Mm-hmm.
they have like a special style that they had that now they're kind of getting more back to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very distinctive. It's like fun. And you talked about the messy box, man. I love their style. I'm so sad that they're not doing stuff anymore. One of the big Project Life core kits that I have that I loved was the messy box one, the beautiful mess kit,
Yep.
and it was
That's the only one
again
I ever bought. Yeah, it was that one. Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I mean, it's rounded
I don't even know what you're
corners.
talking about.
You're safe then.
Yeah. Oh, those core kits. Those were, they don't even make sense now because you
Yeah,
would get like these crazy boxes of cards, and it was like
Oh,
through Becky Higgins or whatever, right? Or
yeah,
whatever.
okay.
And different people would have, so A Beautiful Mess, that company had one, but you would get like hundreds of
like
cards,
six
and
hundred.
they would repeat like a lot of them. So I mean, when you're brand new, you would
Wow.
buy those years ago thinking, oh yeah, but then I immediately was like, I don't want my whole book. It's essentially, it's so that your whole 12 by 12 album could be cohesive, and you could use all those cards
Oh,
throughout the whole book and have like a project
okay.
done quickly. But we've evolved from that. We don't need 700 cards that look exactly alike. So yeah.
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 So what you did was you buy the kit, and then you're like, okay, my friend bought this kit, so let's just switch. Like we're in school with sticker books,
Oh, cool.
and I'll send you 10 of these, and you'll send me
Right.
10, and that's how you could survive. But then they had the messy box, which is like a Studio Calico kit, but they had
Hmm.
less cards, but they had a
Oh,
few 6x8 papers, 6x8 or 9x12.
9 by 12. Yeah,
9 by
9 by
12.
12.
It was like a really fun, vibrant, and it was like, it's just that it came in a time where a lot of things were looking way too vintage. There was way too much
Mm.
cream. And for people who wanted bright,
mm-hmm.
annoying colors, that was a very go-to kit. It was beautiful, and that's how I got into Serena V and Pop
Hmm.
Fizz paper,
Oh,
and a lot of people started using them, and I love them. So my number one right now, especially lately, they just kept making beautiful kits, and I'm like, I have to subscribe. It's Studio Calico. And then I love
mm-hmm.
digitals, so I love In a Creative Bubble. And back when they did kits for Feed Your Craft, oh man,
Yes.
I suffered the end of Feed Your Craft. It was one of the
Oh,
things that I would look for to see every month. It
oh
was
yeah.
just different, and it was
Oh,
like real everyday stuff, because I think that was the turning point too of Project Life and the messy box. That we went from being like, this occasion you had a christening, you had a school day,
Right.
you have to, like, this is your whole life, and we're gonna talk about all of it.
mm,
And that is something that I used to love, because I used to make this big elaborate albums, and have 3 photos in a 12 by 12 or just one, but it wouldn't inspire me to journal.
Hmm.
And I feel like I got so caught up in the embellishing,
Hmm.
and that I made it solely about that, and I would forget a little bit about the photo, and I
Hmm.
would work for the product
I can
instead
see
of
that.
the
Hmm.
story. So that's what I'll like
oh,
right
I
now. I
see.
don't do that many 12 by 12 layouts, because I
Hmm.
enjoy the whole week, the whole month, whatever I'm doing. Like,
Hmm.
it's like looking at the big picture. While with Scrapbook, you like
Mm-hmm.
zooming into one occasion, one day, these set
Right.
of pictures.
Right.
I love Citrus Twist kits too. They make
Oh
really
God, are you
pretty
kidding?
stamps. Yeah.
I
And I
mean, Citrus
love,
Twist, they used to do the monthlies. I mean, that was my life, but then they stopped doing those, and it was so
That
sad.
was.
yeah,
It
now
was really
they,
sad.
yeah, now they're doing printables too. And I
Yeah.
think it's because a lot of the prices in paper, there was like a paper shortage, which, how crazy it is. Like, you would never
Oh,
think that a paper shortage would be like a thing. It sounds so silly. But yeah, it was because of the paper, and the industry is shifting because of shipping and because of paper shortage and inflation. A lot of people are going digital, and I love it. I love a digital kit, but when you sell it as a whole part, kit, like a Studio Calico thing, I'm ready to make the project. Yes, I'm gonna pull a lot of things extra,
Yes.
but it's less job. That okay, I gotta sit down, I gotta print, I'm gonna print three of these, and
Right.
I'm weird too. I also want to change the color of my favorite cards,
Yeah, I know
so
you do all that. See, I'm not
yeah,
that
so it's
technical.
a
Yeah.
whole process when
I
I
don't even know how
print.
to do a print digital anything. I am the least tech savvy person in the world.
It's just practice. It's really easy once
No.
you.
I do like to have a digital kit. I think it's fun. I just print it right off of my computer. You just click print and you're good to go. But there's something like because I've printed so many Studio Calico. That's probably the majority is like those digital sales where they will do like $1
Yes, those are my
digital.
favorite.
So I've printed a ton of their cards. But whenever I just got that, like, the stuff in the mail from that sale, it was like, it's something special to have those printed, like the cards they give you. They have like the
Mm,
Yeah.
cards, they're
so
nice.
thick. I'm always like, there's two of them here.
Oh yeah, I know.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So it's a lot different when you've been printing them off yourself and then you get like the real thing. You're like, oh, luxurious.
I know.
Nice.
And the difference between I print my own stickers to a puffy sticker. Puffy
Right. You're like,
sticker is
oh,
something else.
this is nice.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Puffy stickers and chipboard. Those are my
Yeah.
Yeah. And lately I've been obsessed with pip sticks. And I've been
Oh,
trying to incorporate those in my album because
yeah.
someone shared, Pop Fizz Paper share uh, a meme that said like I need to like buying stickers, it's too emotionally charged because you have to use them at the perfect moment because you
uh-huh.
can't waste them, and I feel like I'm free when I put them in Project Life because it's for longevity. Now for my
Right.
planner, I can't
Yeah.
use my favorite sticker because I'm gonna throw it out at the end of the
Well,
year. I
y'all know
can't
about the
use.
BFF sticker club or no?
I
You know the
love
BFF
how that looks, but
I've
again, I'm like I
is that
can't
too
waste
much?
my bear sticker.
Well, see, that's why I love it because I have like a special book to put them in.
I've seen it, but I don't really know what it is.
I love Leilani's sticker. She share it a lot on Instagram, but
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
you've done flip throughs too, right?
yeah, it's very fun. It's just like it's a community, a sticker community. We won't get into it. I know this is a Project Life video, but
But you
it's really
can.
fun
We
because
love it.
okay, let me show you my book really quick. Hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, please share it.
But
Yay!
chances are they love stickers too. It's a
Okay, so
Venn
this is
diagram that is
straight up
almost
like
a full circle.
it's like it's like you're a kid again. I mean, this is like very fun. Even to buy one for your kids. I mean, anyone could do this, but you get these little books and then basically the whole first half you put, you could just put one sticker down. I go really crazy and I do a whole like thing of my day, but this is for each day of the year. So it's like a planner basically. You put a sticker down for each day of the year. It's so fun. So there's tons of pages, and it goes through the whole year. Then where I have this little tab every Wednesday, they put out a challenge and it'll be like party or breakfast.
Oh my
And you
gosh.
just like, I mean, I feel like these are like little works of art. Like I take it really seriously. And then by the end, there's
As
enough for
good.
every week. And then you, like this past week, it was like a
Ooh.
rainbow one. And then, you
So
fill
sad.
it up and you have a whole little book. And I have an entire one from last year completely filled as well.
So it's like memory keeping with stickers?
Yeah, basically. And it's just for fun. See, that's the thing. Like, I think we put ourselves in these boxes where it's like, okay, December
Yeah.
date, and it's so important. And Project Life, it's like, you got to do like all these certain special things, and it's like we're so rigid. And it's like, that's why I love this part of life, like scrapbooking life, because it's like,
My goodness.
it's just for fun. There's no real purpose. But I like that you have a book because it makes it feel like there's a reason.
Official.
Like you're not
you're not just like
paper. Yeah. So yeah, little side note to
that's so cool.
It's really fun, y'all.
I love it. Every time I see it, I'm like, I should, and I'm like, but then, am I gonna feel okay just gluing all my disco stickers?
That's a huge
this?
thing I know. Like for me, I have no problem. I'm not a paper hoarder. I'm not a sticker hoarder. I'm like, let's go, let's stick them down. But Laura Wanzik, who's like, she's really involved in Allie Edwards, if y'all know. She's one of the two creators of the BFF Sticker Club.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, her and her best friend Amy.
Probably, and because of you, Leilani. But I definitely need to take a look into that.
It's really fun. It's really fun. Like, it's
My
a whole other
wallet's sad
thing
again.
for you to start obsessing over, but it's really fun. Yeah.
And have so many stickers.
I have a zillion stickers. That's how I started. So I have a million stickers.
It's fun to have a place to put them. Yeah. And then you start getting into like all these sticker shops and like these like Korean stickers that are like incredible.
Okay. My people.
Oh my God. Best stickers ever. Like, that's like the top tier stickers are the Korean stickers. Like, oh my God. Okay. So yeah, I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, stickers, yes.
Yes.
We love it. And this is something for the newbies. I hear this question a lot. Like, what do you document if your life is not interesting?
I have a few things written down, actually. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Let them out.
Okay. I thought maybe I could help. I figured that'd be a question, and I thought maybe I could help because I don't have kids. So I feel like within scrapbooking, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that don't have kids, but that's a huge thing. I feel like scrapbooking, a lot of women start out because they have kids and they want to, which makes a lot of sense. For me, like I said, I've always scrapbooked, so it's just like a natural thing for me, and I like documenting my own life. Like, I like looking, and my books are all about me. Like, everything's just about me, but I like it because it's like how Allie Edwards has said before, she scrapbooks for herself. Like, I don't obviously scrapbook for anyone else to look at these. They're just for me, but I like looking at them, and it's like an amazing hobby for me. And she said it helps her like get to know herself, and I feel like I really feel that, but a lot of times when you don't have kids, I'm only documenting basically me and my husband, sometimes my mom and dad. I mean, so it's not like where you said, Jen, oh, my daughter's the busiest 7-year-old. So you're going to have a ton of stuff to document. For me, it's like, there's not much going on. So, there's a few things that I do. Like, these are obvious things, but maybe if you're starting out, you wouldn't think of it. I love to do book, movie, TV reviews, things like that. It's really fun to have the review cards, which Ellie Studio has some in their shop where you can get, and in a Creative Bubble, I use theirs a lot too. Like, they have that whole printable kit where it's like you have cards ready to do reviews, which is really fun.
Oh, cool.
You can also do it with food reviews. I know even Paper Person, they've had a lot of kits, that have been kind of food based and cards that are specific. I used to subscribe to Paper Person too. But yes, I love to talk about food. It's fun to do recipes. My husband is like the main chef around here. He loves to cook. So I love to put recipes in that we try and stuff. I think that's really fun. I love rating anything. So if you can do a 5-star rating, I think that's really fun. Also throwback photos, like on Instagram, on Facebook, where those pictures pop up. I think that's fun, even to do then and now, or this day a year ago or 5 years ago or whatever.
I think these were a few of the in a Creative Bubble, or because they had others too that I'm looking for that they were really simple. Like, on top they were just say listening, reading, in block, really
I love
simple.
those. And with listening, you can check mark even a podcast on there or an audio book, and I love doing that. So that's a really great one because we all consume media all the time. Yep. I don't do this a lot, but with friends' photos, you could always, I think you've done that too, Jenny, where you screenshot your family's photos. I do that now. One of my best friends just recently had a daughter. So a lot of times I'll want to add her daughter into my albums too, because I don't see them all the time. Of course, memes and quotes for me, a lot of times those can tell your stories better than you can, which I've already screenshotted a couple tax day memes because so that's next on the agenda. So things like that. One thing I really love is screenshotting text from friends and family to get their voices in there. I love to screenshot text from my dad when he sends something just silly, or right now, me and my best friend, I'm a Big Brother stan. Okay, I love Big Brother. And so my best friend is finally watching these old seasons of Big Brother. So it's like a huge thing. We're like texting back and forth. So I have a whole text combo that I'm putting into projects
Yes.
this week. So things like that I love doing. And I did mention Jenny, your real life ephemera, the kids packaging, all of that, which is a great way to take up space.
Yeah.
If you have, you know.
Also like news
Yeah,
articles.
yeah.
Mhm.
I've done that so many times. Even like with Instagram and stuff, you know, you can screenshot little, like I know I was putting in updates about COVID, or like even things that said, oh, it's been 1 year, oh, it's been blah blah blah, new mandates, mask mandates, different things like that.
Mhm.
Those are great to put in there.
Yeah.
And I know Allie Edwards did the whatever that was, where she actually gets like the screenshot of the front page.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so you could do that even of like a front page of the New York Times or whatever it is. So yeah.
Right.
There's so many things you can document. That's what I try to tell people. Like, your life is not too boring. I stay at home every single day. I do not have kids, and I document myself every week. It's like, it's fun. There's always something you can talk about.
Yeah, you can always pinpoint trends because, like you said, you love reading. Colleen Hoover is a thing right now. Back
Right.
in our grandma's and mom's day, it was like Danielle Steele. So there
Right.
was like a moment where you can point out that like this was the hot author going on at the moment. You know, books come in trends a lot. Books related to things happening. You know, like after the pandemic, I feel like there was this search in books that people like sat down at home and were like, okay, what's happening with this, and that. And they
Mhm.
feel they had like that final moment that there was silence around the world, and they could be like, okay, here are my thoughts. And a lot of nonfiction books came after that, and I thought that was really interesting too. So Jen, what about your not interesting life tips?
You
I
said
mean,
the
I'm
news.
pretty boring. All my friends think I'm lame because I play with stickers all day, but that's fine. I don't care. They can judge away. I screenshot, like Leilani was saying, I'm a pretty avid podcast listener, so I'll screenshot like the episode of the podcast that I'm listening to. I buy a lot of products, so sometimes I take pictures of the products that I buy, which maybe that sounds kind of silly, or like
No, not really. You can do flat lay photos. Like I always do that for December daily.
I love
Like
that.
yeah, even clothes for your kids. There's gonna be like a moment where a big trend is gonna pop, like Shopkins a few years back. My
right.
daughters had Shopkins like outfits, and now they're not a thing anymore. So
Right.
it's a thing that you can pinpoint.
that.
Remember when?
I love that. And a
Yeah.
lot of times those podcasts and stuff can even take you back. Like, I love just like flipping through my album, and it'll be like you're transported even just by a podcast you listen to. You're like, oh, I remember that. It kind of takes you back to that
Yeah.
time, you know.
And I feel that sometimes when you like things like podcasts or books, they can take you down a rabbit hole. For example, like last year I was really into cults, and
me too.
I read a lot of FLDS books, Scientology, and they were so good. And like, and then I will watch documentaries and listen to Leah Remini's podcast, and it takes you now. And now I am watching 90 Day Fiance, and I listen to this podcast called Reality Gaze.
At first sight. Yep.
So I know it's terrible, it's garbage TV, but I love it.
See, I'm
I
a
can't
Sister
stop.
Wives girl. I'm Sister Wives. So I listen to Sister Wives podcast.
Yes.
I like have all these YouTube channels, so I definitely know the feeling. Yeah.
I know, it's so random. I'm like reading like, you know, The Next Evangelicalism, which is like this deep nonfiction like book about all this really intense stuff, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go watch Married at First Sight right now. Like,
it's about balance. Hello.
It doesn't make any sense. And Jenny said in one of her recent videos, like, I'm pretty sure I lost brain cells. I'm like, that is my quote. I say that all the time. Like, every time I watch an episode, I lose a few brain cells because it's such garbage. But like, that's Pump Rules, Laguna Beach, like all that stuff back in the day. Did you guys watch the
my God. The Road Rules. I feel I'm gonna put
Whenever
Bengay on
I saw
my
the
knee
Next
right now.
document.
That still exists though, right? The real world, and no, they
Yeah,
do challenges. They do. I don't even know.
I
Yeah,
think
I don't
so.
watch. I think so.
Crazy.
What? So in the future, that people are gonna be like, married at first sight still exists. Like
Yes,
90-Day Fiance. What are you talking about?
I love that.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
It's fun.
So you
Hmm.
see your life, and this is something that what it's boring to me, like your friend said, like, oh, you play with stickers, whatever. That's not boring to me and to people who like the same things that you do. So if you like cooking, if you like nature, if you
Hmm.
like, just drinking different types of coffee, or whatever it is that you feel that it's boring, like even the stuff that you have around your house is worth documenting, because in the future trends are going to change, colors are not going to be the same, furniture is not going to be designed the same way. So there are
Right.
few things, there's actually everything around you, it's telling a story of the things you like, of the place and time where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever
Right.
is happening right here in Maryland is not necessarily happening. You live in Louisiana, Leilani?
I love Mississippi. Mm-hmm.
Mississippi. And it's
So
not
yeah, it's probably
happening in New
way different.
York. So,
It's probably way different.
I'm New York. It's very different from Mississippi.
yeah.
We're
And
our own special kind of people over here. So
so, and the circles that we run in, the friends that we have, our families, like, since my husband was in the military and after I moved, I was never able to connect with my family. I would do it online. So I would do it with taking pictures from their Facebook, for talking to my niece, for making an
right.
inside joke. Most of my friends are friends online. I have very few friends here in Maryland, and I have a lot of friends around, like, the United States and Puerto Rico and even Australia. And like, I know I have a friend named Michelle that she's always the first person to say happy birthday on Facebook because she's in Australia.
Uh-huh.
And that is something that I always like remember, something that she's not my friend that I see and talk to every day, but she's a person that has that impact in my life. It's
Oh
something
yeah.
that I always remember, something that is very cool. So don't dismiss what your journey is, how your life looks like, because your life is just as valuable as someone who lives in a giant mansion, or someone who has 8 kids, or someone who lives in a crazy amazing city.
Yeah.
It's different stories. If we were all living the same life, what we're doing Project Life would not be worth it, because
Right.
it
Yeah,
would be
exactly.
all
That's
the
the
same.
right. That's the special part of Project Life. And whenever you said whatever your thing is, if you like nature, if you like coffee, whatever, you can take those things and really hone into that during your weeks of Project Life. Like every week you could do a review, right? Because we like to do reviews. You can do a review of like different coffee. Like every week you can try different ones, like local coffee, or every month or whatever, or you can make stuff at home. You can do different hiking trails that you go on, or
Mhm.
different things that you're trying out. Even with stickers, you can talk about different sticker shops that you like,
Hmm.
small shops that take a picture of your haul or whatever. So there's
Yeah.
literally no limit to what you can document. You don't have to only document your children or your, no offense, but you know what I mean,
No, but
for
I,
people
I
that
agree.
have kids.
You
Like,
can't lose yourself in only documenting your kids. And when that
Yeah.
happens, you should
right,
check it out. Because I had really postpartum depression. And in those moments where I had it, it was all about my kids. Because the second I
right.
look into me, it could get dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking of starting an album for so it's like totally weird, different tangent, but I am adopted. So storytelling to
Mm-hmm.
me is like a huge piece of me reclaiming my identity and my story and being able to pass that on because I don't have one. So it's really, really special.
I
It goes super
love
deep.
that
It's
idea.
just like playing with stick, which is fine if it is, but for me, it is very therapeutic in
I
more
love
ways
that.
than just exercising my creativity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am like through the pandemic, I was able to connect with like a lot of that's when like the adoptee community really blew up because we found each
Mm-hmm.
other virtually. So there's a lot of us who, we were adopted at really like as infants, and now we're adults. And so like I want to capture that journey of like finding connections and like making friends. And those are the podcasts I actually like listen to and have been guests on. And then starting like a birth search, which is something I'm going to be journeying on. So I want to like document all that.
That is awesome. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea. And that's what really, you're like, wow, scrapbooking can be so special because that's like such an important story. So that's really cool. That's really cool.
And something else I wanted to mention was these currently cards. They are from Christine Tweedell. She's one of the ladies from the Awesome Ladies Project and Crafty as Female. I love their podcast. Speaking of podcast. But it's just what I do sometimes is just in the back I write with pencil what I'm watching, what I'm reading, what I'm listening, what am I making, feeling, planning, and loving, and that I can add. And if my week is slow and I don't have that many photos, I could be like, well, I was watching Married at First Sight, so I'll just go and look for the season picture that they had, or my favorite couple, or the one that I hated the most. They will kind of suck this season.
Or a funny meme about it. Yeah.
Like
I love adding like Love is Blind memes or something.
Yes.
Stuff like that. So
so the next question is, where do you get your inspiration? Jen, since you're fresh and new at it, I think that I would do it so automatically because I've been doing it for so long. Maybe you're a little more aware of it.
I'm telling you, I spent weekends like laying in bed scrolling and finding, like, obviously you have to do what works for you, what your style is, what you're drawn to. And then like, I know that I like following people who have like minds and interests, right? Like color wise. So of course, Leilani, I discovered Leilani because of her bright, funky, like fun, whimsical, like style. And Jenny, you and I have a lot of the same designer interests, and the rainbows, the bright colors, like all the washi sequins, like all the little extra embellishments. So I follow you. I look on Instagram, I'll follow hashtags, like hashtag, I don't know, pocket pages, hashtag, whatever, like, and then through scrolling, I kind of am like, oh, I really like that layout. And then I'll go to that layout, and then I'll go to that account and be like, look at their grid and be like, is this somebody who I resonate with, or whose style I would like to sort of scrap lift, I guess is the term. And then also same thing on Pinterest. Like I'll just put in, project life or whatever and see what comes up. I also take inspiration though from like either a collection that I see. It doesn't even have to be like scrapbook related. It could just be, for example, like I love this 6x12 sticker pack, right? Like I just like the way that it looks. So I might like then go and see what I can find, like papers that I have, because you can cut down scrapbook paper and make the, a 3x4 card. So I'm more of a color person. I have a lot of kits, but I think that I don't stick to kits when I create. I go by color, which is, I don't know a lot of people that do that. They stick to, which takes me a lot longer. It takes me a lot longer to create a spread because I'm like going through all things and not just using one kit. But.
Okay. How about you, Leilani?
Okay. Well, I'm a really quick scrapper. So whenever you said, Jen, I was like, ooh. Because I'm like really quick with it, but that's just how I work. I'm like, oh, I'm just throwing it down. I don't go look through all my stuff. It's just like kind of whatever's available to me is what I'm going to be using. But as far as inspo, like for Project Life specifically, I honestly do not look at that many like accounts for inspiration, because it comes so naturally. Like I just kind of throw it together. The pocket pages is just like kind of a more easy thing for me to accomplish. But I do, of course, Adele from Inky Quill is one of my ultimate favorite scrapbookers because I just love the freedom that she does, where like she really doesn't go by any rules of scrapbooking. Like she just does her own thing, and I love that. And definitely the color thing is huge for me. I'm a for sure very colorful scrapbooker, and I do feel like sometimes it's hard. There's a lot of like neutrals and a lot of really like, muted stuff, and I'm the total opposite. So,
Yeah.
but I definitely do the similar things with like the hashtags and looking at accounts, especially when it's like December daily time or like a
Mm.
project like that where I
Yes.
really want to create like layouts and I'm having to think more, because Project Life, you're putting in the cards. I mean, so once you get the hang of it, you're kind of like, I got the groove down, and doing it for 5 years, I just kind of pop them in and it is what it is. But for sure, I do the same thing for other projects, like always. Like Week in the Life is coming up. I'll definitely be looking for inspo on Instagram, which is great.
You're
So,
gonna do Week in the Life?
yeah, so I've done Week in the Life like the past 3 years or something, but I never do it the way they do. I did it one year the way that like Allie Edwards did it, and now I love Allie Edwards. Like I have like she's such an amazing person, and like I love watching her videos. Like she gives me like comfort. But as far as her products, and
Mm.
I love watching her use them, but I cannot use them. Like
Yeah.
they never looks good. Like it's not something I can like work with very easily. I think I am just more of a whimsical scrapbooker, and hers are
Yeah.
more like, you know what I mean. So my December or my Week in Life will probably be much different than like community based where everybody's using like the same products and kind of doing the same kind of layouts. But I do plan to document it in some way. So we'll see.
Sounds fun. So I get my inspiration. I get most inspiration for photo taking from Allie Edwards. I love how she captures
Mhm.
photos, and same with Amy Gretchen. But like you, with their products, they're a little too neutral, and I'm a little bit rainbow throw up.
Mhm.
So,
I feel that.
so I
Yeah.
do a lot of stories to look for in how to take photos inspiration, but when it comes to layout, I am horrible at scrap lifting. I can do a sketch and I'm gonna struggle with it, but when it comes to like scrap lift this, I'm like, I can't. It never looks like I want it to look, even with December Daily or Project Life. I can do like a little embellishment that looks similar, but never looks the same. I do
Mm-hmm.
love like the old school Studio Calico videos, like the very old school, like 7 years ago, when
Mhm.
Two Piece used to have videos. Man, I miss
Right.
Two Piece. And the old Kelly Perky videos. I like how
I
she
love
captured
her.
life. Yeah, she's very simple too, but her way of
Mhm.
capturing life is very fresh. I love it. So
He's awesome. Yeah.
I love this chat so much. It went like I knew it was gonna be a fun time, um, but like it went so much better. I feel like
This was great. Yeah.
yeah, it was so
Super
easy
fun.
to like have this conversation, and you guys had so much to say, and actually got this idea when Jen was like asking me questions about Project Life, and I'm like, maybe we should talk about Project Life. I
Yeah.
don't feel like crafty podcasts capture it a lot. They talk about special projects and or other things, but I don't hear too much love for Project Life.
I feel like it's
Maybe
kind of
Mm.
dying. Like I feel like
I feel
there's
the
not,
same way.
or at least with the content there, I haven't seen a ton of Project Life content as far as the accounts I follow. I mean, maybe I'm not following the right ones, but it's like it seems like a lot of people just aren't really doing Project Life anymore. But I'm like, look, this is the one project I can see doing like
Yep,
forever. Like I love
Forever. I feel the
Project
same
Life.
way.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like it's evolving into this little stop the blur,
Right.
memory. What do you call it? Memory planning?
Memory plane.
Lots of little mini albums. But I love how consistent, how safe it makes me feel, how much
Yeah.
it tells your story. I feel like it's like a whole book. Each book is like a whole book. And I feel like I can't tell my stories too well with other little projects and other little layouts.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah,
It's
I
agree.
agree.
I
That's why I
agree.
stopped doing Stop the Blur. It was insane. It would take me, when I first started, it took me like 4 hours to complete 1 week. It's
wow.
so involved. It's so meticulous and it looks amazing, and it looks great when you're finished, but it's like so involved. It's definitely not a project that you can do the way that it's dare I say, like the way that it's marketed. It's
Right.
not, you can't. Like
Right.
even Auntie Heidi doesn't finish a whole thing because it is so intense.
And you
So
can
that's
tell
also what
too.
drew me to Project Life.
Right.
I think it's going to blow up a little bit because I like to think that I have some influence in the planner community, and I have a lot of planner people who are like, what is this? Hold on.
I love that.
Our stickers and washi, and then like the pictures are easy to print. That's not the case with other forms of memory keeping. So I just, people are like really like, what is this that you're talking about? What is it? And
That's
I love it.
Thing.
Addicted.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing I love about it is like the pocket scrapbooking. So I love pockets, but I also love working outside the pockets. I do both. But as far as keeping up with every week, like once you get in that groove, it really is easy. Like everything is it fits in those pockets and you can just kind of bam 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 get it done. I mean, I can do a 1-page spread in 30 minutes for sure. I mean, I just pop those things out and it's easy to do. So that's what I love about Project Life. It's like you just put them in the pockets, you know? It's simple. So
and I always feel like more inspired to write. I feel like I can't do that with other formats. I don't know why. Okay, so
I think it's fun though to like to work outside the protector, like you said, because you can make it. You can put in little embellishments and you can make flip operables and all that stuff if you want to, but you don't have to.
But you don't have to. You know, it can be as simple as you want, and I love that part of it. Yeah.
Sorry, Jen, we're gonna say something.
No, that's okay. And this is the last question. What is one tip you would give to a Project Life newbie? Leilani, you go first.
Okay. I would say one tip. Well, for me, starting out with just 1 page, I think is easier. To do one 12 by 12 page or whatever your size is. Like, don't get so stuck into the parameter that you see in like videos and stuff. Like it's all just whatever you want it to be. I know a lot of us will see certain videos for certain projects and we think, oh, I don't know that we're like, this is how it has to be, but it's just natural to kind of follow suit. Like with the 4x6 card that says week whatever, with the like, you don't have to do that. I know plenty of people I do that, but for the longest time I would just throw a 3x4 card in there and I would add a photo. Like, it doesn't matter, just find your groove. Don't be so hard on yourself, you know, because it is a weekly project and a lot of people get really caught up in that, like the weekly, like I've got to keep doing it. But if that doesn't work, try monthly. Just let yourself, you know, figure it out. Don't be so rigid and like have fun with it. It is a fun scrapbooking project, you know, so just remember to have fun.
How about you, Jen?
So coming from a total newbie perspective, I didn't know, like, there's like lingo around Project Life. There is specific vocabulary and terms, and if somebody's watching this and they've never done Project Life, they're like, what are you talking about? 9x12, 6x8 rings, pocket pages, outside the picture. Those are all terms that I had to figure out what the heck they meant and why were they integral and important in deciding how I wanted to document, and then what kits I wanted based on those terms. So I would say there needs to be sort of like a dictionary for Project Life, because I didn't know. So I would say there are basic steps, right? Project Life is an album system for storing your memories with photos in layouts based on page protectors that have different configurations. Or they can be outside the page protector and just be like on paper and whatever set you want to put them. And then I had to start looking into subscription kits, and there's so many. So I had like this whole page where I'm telling you, hours of research, where I was like, this is the company, these are the kits they offer. And then I was looking into like, how much were the kits? What was included in the kits? What substitutes a kit? What even is a kit? What is a scrapbook? Right? Like, if you're brand new to Project Life, you have no idea. So I was like, what are like the standard things you'd see in a kit? So pocket cards, if you're doing Project Life, back when I started doing Stop the Blur last year and I subscribed to Allie Edwards, not knowing what the heck I was doing, I didn't understand why I was getting all these 3x4 cards. I had no idea what they were for. So I was like, well, I'm just going to put them down like in my scrapbook, like in my planner and like cut around them and whatever.
I love that. Yes.
I had no idea. So yes, like a scrapbook kit, what is that? It has pocket cards, it has stickers, it has labels, which if you're coming from the planner community, a label is literally what we just call a box sticker. That's all it is. Oh. In the planning community, these are referred to as colorful boxes.
So I would never know that.
Neither have I.
They are referred to as labels.
For
They're
sure.
the same thing. I did not know this. Okay, so I have sticker books full of boxes, full of them. So, but they are a little bit different in material. Anyway, so there's boxes or labels. There's some type of embellishment. So that can be chipboard, or it can be ephemera, or die cuts, or washi, or puffy stickers.
Yeah, like anything you add on, you know.
Yeah, and you can add on. So I had to figure what the heck is what does that mean? Like I think as a beginner, there's a lot that's not taught or explained that's expected that you know and you don't. So for me, that is why I started my Memory Planning Monday series a year ago when I started Stop the Blur. And it's now evolved to sharing Project Life. And I do talk about that a little bit, like how you, and what does each week look like to you? Like, what do you want to put on it? How are you going to embellish it? And how to figure that out and start.
That's an interesting perspective, because honestly, there's not a lot of that, because, you know, I'm thinking it's kind of cool that there's so many accounts and YouTube and like so many things that can help you. But at the same time, I'm sure that could be extremely overwhelming coming into a community, and there's so much information and you're just like, whoa, what is, you know, is this a cult? Like, what did I stumble across? You know,
it is a little
bit.
But I was like, what do you mean? Like, so if I remember I was asking Sabrina, I'm like, what do you use? And Crystal Adinate, I was asking her, like, because Crystal's the reason I got the scrapbook.com album, but there's different albums that are different sizes, and the page protectors they're not communicating.
They're not always going to fit.
So, like, you gotta figure out, like, some of the albums have like 2 double rings, and some of them have 1, and some. So yeah, it was like a lot. Like,
that's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing your perspective as a newbie in it, because once you've been in it for so long, I wouldn't think about that as like something to tell. That. Yeah, like something that we have absorbed over time, and since we got info like little by little instead of here's the whole Project Life world, so it's a little more easy to take in. That's interesting.
Like the date stamp. I was like, why do you need a date? What is that even for? And then watching like Leilani and you, Jenny, using it to put on like the weeks, like this are the dates that you're talking about. Like, oh, I put them on individual pictures, but like I could see how that would work for like your title card. I didn't even know what is a title card? What is the purpose of that? Like, I had no idea. This is all totally new language. And luckily I've been watching Jenny's channel for like a year because of December Daily as founder. So then I was like, what is this Project Life? What even is this? Okay, it's some sort of like memory keeping, but it's different than what I'm doing, because I was doing Stop the Blur at the time, which was more of a hybrid between memory planning and paper planning, right? Like, so that kind of eased me in, and then now we're here. But like seeing Jenny use like a recurring embellishment throughout the week, or you do the same thing, where you're like, 3 times I need to have this. I like to have this alpha spread out over several photos. Like, I learned from watching people like you, like using washi to like carry a consistent color scheme throughout the week. That's something that I do. So now every time I go to plan a week, I see what photos I have, and then I see what colors are in those photos, and then I go over and I pick my washi, and I make sure the washi coordinates with whatever the main color.
And I can see how that's a lot.
It is a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, like, again.
Now that you mention it, it is a lot.
I think
Yep.
that you just got like that whole bucket of cold water over you while we were
Right.
getting drops that it was like, wow, it's a lot.
Right.
My tip to a newbie would be figure out how you're going to print your photos. A lot of people I know
Ooh.
get a little behind or they're not happy with the quality. So before you get fully into it, check out which companies you like the most, what works for you. There are companies that print photos that the paper is too glossy, so you can't really stamp on them. And if you want to stamp on them, that's going to be an issue for you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, don't go crazy buying. I know it's hard to see because everything is so pretty and it's something new, and you're like, well, I don't have any cards, so let me buy a bunch of them. And all of a
Right.
sudden, you're like, oh dear, I have 3 drawers full of cards. Maybe I need to like step back
Yes.
and
Yeah.
enjoy it. Don't like, yes, look at people for inspiration and grab a few things here and there to make your process work, but don't be like, okay, I need to make this like this scrapper does because
Right.
that's not your life. You're not that person. I try to do it with I love Amy Gretchen, but whenever I
Mm-hmm.
try to do something simple, I'm like, I hate how it looks in mine. I love how it looks
That's
on
what I meant
her.
about Allie Edwards. I mean, I love her, but it's like every
Yeah.
time I try to use those products, I'm just like, it just doesn't work, you know? But
Yeah.
you can love someone else's stuff and admire it, and it
Well,
does,
that's why
you can
mixed
take
stuff
other
in.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And just like you
Mhm.
said, Jenny, you take the photo thing from them instead of like the layouts or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah.
Or the way I miss Tashiana Gordon because I love how
Yes.
she would like write and tell stories. I think she's an amazing storyteller. And I
Yes.
miss her so much. That's another thing about the community. Sometimes people just leave the community or stop making videos and stop sharing,
Yeah.
and you miss them like they
Oh
were your
yeah.
neighbor.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So but I do miss that inspiration. Like I can't even come remotely to it, but I just love how she would talk and she would write these letters to
Mm-hmm.
specific items and people, and they turn out so beautiful. And then I'm
Mm-hmm.
here like, yeah, that was nice. Period.
Well, I feel like Project Life, I definitely do more of a who, what, where, when, why kind of journaling. I do like to journal. I mean, I journal every week in Project Life in some capacity, but different projects that I do, like depending on what it is, I'll definitely have more thought out, thoughtful journaling that maybe I type up or something. But for Project Life, I feel like you can get away with that because it's really just about the day to day. So,
Yeah.
it
And
works.
just the last thing to like wrap it up is where can we find you, Leilani? You have Patreon. I need to
Yes.
join.
Okay. So I have my Instagram is, the main place that I share like photos and I'm on there every day. So it's Leilani, Leilani underscore scraps. And then I also have a YouTube channel and I've been sharing over there since like the end of 2020. And I share Project Life videos every single week. Same name, Leilani Scraps. And then I do have a Patreon and it's really fun. So I don't share Project Life over there, though. I just do, like I said, a project every month. We do a project from start to finish, and it depends on the tier. You can go and look it up, but you get, process videos, up to 7 process videos a month, and we complete a project. So sometimes it's a small, like, um, mini album, and sometimes it's a much bigger album. I do December daily over there, October daily, all the things. There's also, we have a cozy mystery book club over there. Even at the lowest tier, you get that, and you also get a crafty Zoom every month, and we have like a great community. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on my Patreon, and I'm proud of it because I've put a lot of time and energy into it. So those are definitely the 3 places that I'm at, and I'm really active on all 3. So
Okay. How about you, Leilani? Oh, Jen.
again,
Sorry.
I mean that's a beautiful name, by the way. So you can call me Leilani if you want to. Is that Hawaiian? Are you Hawaiian?
my
Like
parents grew up there and met
Oh,
there and moved here.
okay.
So I've never even been to
That makes a
Hawaii,
lot.
but
Yeah, yeah. No, I've been, and I was like, I know a Leilani,
yeah.
and she's Hawaiian. Well, she's like
Mhm.
Korean Hawaiian. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, okay. So my handle is Chappy Plans, and I'm just on Instagram and YouTube. I have a Facebook, but it really just it just draws from my Instagram, I think. So yeah, you can always, my DMs are always open on Instagram if you ever want to chat. And I share a lot. I share decorative planning, I share project life, I share hauls, and I will be sharing something new.
Cool. Well, if you're here in my channel, this is my channel. I'm Jenny Garcia. And I'm Jenny Garcia everywhere, but on Instagram, I'm Jenny Garcia N, because the amount of Jenny Garcias in this planet is ridiculous. So I share lots of project life, December daily, hauls, flip throughs when I can. I do little book journals. And I'm going to start Patreon on May. And the purpose of Patreon is to put all my stuff in there, because I feel like Instagram sometimes buries my post, or YouTube does too. Also, for those of you who have kids and your kids watch bird videos, and then you don't get any scrapbooking videos because all you get is bird videos, then you can find me there, and it's gonna be ad free. I'm gonna post the same videos plus an exclusive one on Patreon, and I'm just gonna like show you every day like little pictures, little short videos of what I'm doing, and just to hang out. It's gonna be like a place to hang out, because I can't do Discord. Discord's like forum, like very old school. I tried to like join for someone else, and I was like, I don't get this. I'm an old person.
I don't even know.
I love Patreon. It's really easy, and it is a great place to share more personal things. Like, I love having the crafty Zooms over there, because like you get to know the community so much, and you get to chat. And I also do a vlog video every month over there, and it's so fun to get to like have your face and talk about other things too, besides necessarily only scrapbooking. You know, it's fun. So
yeah, I want to start a page at some point, but I'm afraid, like, I mean, I don't have that many followers on or on YouTube, and on Instagram I have like, I don't know, a decent amount, but I'm like afraid to start it and then have
it's scary. I was terrified.
So I'm like, let me about that.
Yeah, I was really scared. Yeah, you're like, what if I don't even get one?
I know. I am terrified about that.
What if no one signs up?
I'm just gonna wait.
Y'all will both be great, but yes.
Thank you so much for, talking with me and being so open and so helpful. I hope that people watching this video feel inspired and feel like, they can leave questions if they want to know more about the process. You can follow Leilani and Jenn on their social media, and follow me. And this has been so much fun. It's so meta in a way. I never get to talk about like I'm like I did this and this is how I did it, but I never talk about the project like so deeply. And like Jenn said, it's so things that we never really like think about. It was so refreshing to see someone coming to you and saying like, yeah, what the heck is up with all this info?
Right, exactly.
We need to develop a glossary, apparently. But man, it has been so much fun. Thank you, ladies, so much. I hope everyone watching this video enjoyed it as much as we enjoy talking. Like, honestly, I could do 20 more of this.
Fun.
I know. I'm like, we have to cut it off sometime, but it was really fun.
I know. We've been talking like a long time, but it doesn't feel like a long time.
No, not at all.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So crazy. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're having an awesome day. Bye. Say bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.